Honey, what are you thinking?
How's everybody doing? I know I'm doing great. I know I'm doing awesome. Maybe, as I mentioned it before, I'm doing better than I deserve. I hope you're doing better than you deserve. But if you deserve it, even better. That means you're doing much better than that. Means that you actually deserve it. Like doing better, which is great. It's another podcast. Might be episode number. I don't want to say the episode number just in case I get it wrong. But I should be making sure, I'll be checking it out first. Sometimes I just go random, because we got a couple of topics. So I just take it, go through it, and put it out here. And I hope you're doing great. I hope you're doing awesome. I hope you're hydrating. I just thought about that right now because I just took a cup. I won't say a cup of what, but yeah, it's a liquid and it's good for hydration. Yeah, and getting on. Welcome to the Questions Ladies Wanna Ask podcast with your host, Jobs. And today's topic goes something like this. Men or guys, do you discuss girls like a lot, or do you discuss girls? Well, do men discuss girls? I think they do, or I think we do. So, do we discuss girls? Do we talk about girls? Yes, we do. We definitely do. And in a particularly happy, jovial, celebratory way. It's rarely a dull moment unless a friend is broken over a breakup and we're doing our best to cheer him up. Otherwise, it's always wow, really, damn, good stuff. Always talking about something good. Let me see that. Maybe somebody's sharing a picture of their new fling or the lady they're interested in, so he might want to share a picture with us. So yeah, it's usually something really positive, happy, jovial moment. What is she made of? If I say what is she made of? Where is that from? Are you kidding me? And any other way we can express our sheer joy at seeing a particularly attractive woman. We rarely discuss or share pictures of our better halves. If I'm passing around an image on my phone, it's probably a fling. If I'm sharing the image, that's what I mean by passing around. If I'm sharing it with my friends, male friends, it's probably just a random girl, nobody I'm serious with, or maybe someone on Instagram or something like that. A fairly new chick we're pursuing, yeah, I might share the picture. Yeah, and she might be the reason for all those interjections and all those whistles. Yeah, as the phone is going, when we're passing the phone around, all my friends are just ogling at it, they're just looking at it. Yeah, that's why that time it's a crazy happy moment. Everybody wants to see, what is he talking about? Who is that? Let me see her, let me see how she is. So I'll be waiting until the phone is returned back to my hands. Yeah, or to somebody else, whoever the phone belongs to, whoever's showing us the picture. So yeah, and after passing it around, yeah, that's how we start conversations. So that might have been part of the conversation. So we were talking about, maybe I introduced, oh man, I've been seeing this new girl. Oh, let me see, I have a picture here? So, but rarely do guys ask for the pictures. I'll say I have the picture. They won't say oh, you have no, you just show them, or if you don't have, you can just describe her or her personality, something that you remember about her, anything. So in essence, that's just validation. Basically, that's what guys are doing, is just validation. To us, it's just sharing info, but subconsciously we're seeking validation. What do you guys think? We want to know how our mates or how our friends think about that, or about the lady in question. If I'm sharing the pictures, it's basically because I want to know what they think about it, or what they think about her. Not that I care that much about it, because if I'm interested, that's all that matters. But it's just validation, basically. So yeah, all these times we're not just sitting down and, oh, here's the phone. We're probably just, it was part of the conversation. We're probably sipping a beer, maybe we're watching a movie, maybe we're traveling. Yeah, but generally we're just relaxing. So that's when, yeah, we might be discussing girls or talking about girls. Why discuss girls? Well, it's a break from the monotony of work and part of life. What's up with me? Yeah, so it's a little break, like from just talking about random stuff in life, like work and life. It gets a little boring. We talk about that. We talk about our careers. We talk about the weather, our jobs, the new boss, the new promotion, and maybe that new hot chick in the office. So that's kind of how it just comes in. That's the discussing girls part, or talking about girls part. Some guys might be talking about the typical discussions of investments, maybe a new investment. If I'm in such a group, work, new stuff, hobbies, which include sports. Yeah, but ladies form part of the conversation. They're part of it. They're part of what we talk about. So what's clear though, we don't go into the details. For those who've been dating for a while, if a guy has been dating like the lady for a while, there is a level of respect when addressing their spouse during the conversation. We might talk about her, but it's usually at a very respectful angle. You don't just talk about, if they've been dating for a while, their spouse, their partners, or their wives, you can't just talk about her the same way you talk about like a random fling, something like that. No, you can't go to those levels. You keep it super respectful. It just comes naturally. So like might be normal stuff. I might mention minute details that my long-term girlfriend, who they probably know, maybe she's left to visit somebody, maybe maybe she left to visit her family, friends, something like that, or she flew out for business or something, or personal, for pleasure with her friends. So important details, something that actually makes sense. But nothing about how good the sex was last night and how much she wanted it. Yeah, no. Those details are only shared when it happens with flings, not about our spouses. No way anyone would share a picture of his wife unless it's like a picture of the wife and the kids to show, oh, they traveled here, or they're doing great, or they look so happy, or they visited their granny, something like that. Not the one with the wife in her bikini or any of that sort. That's just for us, like me and her. So, or my friends and their wives. Those ones, no, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see you and your wife, or your wife in bikini, or whatever she's putting on for you. No, that's usually that guy's business, or our friend's business. And no one wants to see their friend's wife naked or in their lingerie or something like that. That only happens with guys who don't respect like the family setting and marriage, or maybe some swingers, swinger couples, the ones who, those ones probably. But for most guys, generally, most guys will just not go sharing such pictures or such information, or even volunteering such information. I wouldn't know about that one, but I know we don't do that generally. Talk about girls? Yes, definitely, but not specifically about wives or serious girlfriends. No, spouses, no. Random chicks, definitely. So we might discuss girls we know, or if there's this like new chick at the office who's been turning heads. Yeah, we can talk about that. Because basically everybody wants to know how she looks like, and if you interacted with her, how it went down. It's the small details that matter about the interaction, or generally how she looks like. And like in a group of guys, a lot of us want to know how she looks like, how she's dressed, or how she dresses. Yeah, no one really talks much about her personality, since none of us is actually planning on like going after her unless one of us is interested. In that case, they might ask more questions like, how is she? How does she act? Yeah, that's somebody who wants to know a little bit more. But if not, we just talk about the basics. It's just sharing information, something to keep the conversation going, like the way you can just bring in, oh, did you see this new model, this new car? Something like that. Not that I'm comparing ladies with cars. Don't get me wrong there. All right. So sometimes a friend might suggest like one of you might be her type. He can say like, man, she's actually your type. So if he mentions something like that, then that guy might get interested, and the rest of us want to know, well, what you mean? Like, so you have to go explaining it and talking about her, or what you find that she's interesting, or why you think they're a match. And usually that happens if we know as a group of guys, or as a group of male friends, if we know a single friend of ours who might be searching, or somebody among us is single and searching, and we think he might be a good fit with the new lady probably we work with, our new colleague, yeah, we might strike up a conversation about that. In-depth discussions about women rarely happen unless a friend is like explaining what happened with the breakup or sharing how a meeting with the family was. No, nothing too deep. Yeah, so something that has nothing to do with sex will be a huge conversation or a topic. A story about a party you attended, if something interesting happened, yeah, we'll talk about that. Excuse me. If most guys are married, we might listen to a slightly more sexually charged story from one of our bachelor friends. The one who's still playing around, yeah, he can give us the stories. But if the rest of us are married, we'll not talk about really anything deep about the marriage. Maybe just the usual advice, oh, you can do this, you can do that, but nothing sexual. However, the bachelor is always coming up with stories of his escapades and all that. So we're always willing to listen and laugh about it and hear more about whatever he's doing or whatever he's up to. Yeah, because he's probably the bachelor or any bachelor friends we have, we don't mind. They talk about everything and about whoever they've been dating lately, whoever they're having sex with lately, because that's just the kind of life they probably live. And if it's not, they can always talk about whoever they're dating. Same way we'll talk about our families. Got that? Yeah. All right. Moving on. Remember, we're talking about, do you discuss girls? Like, do you talk about girls when you hang out with your guy friends or male friends? Yeah. So if we ask one of our guys how it's going with his new girl and he answers something like she's really cool, that might indicate he's attached or loving it so far. You get it? If he says something like, oh, she's really cool, might mean he's kind of interested or he's probably taking it seriously. That's just his way or our way of seeing if you're feeling it. Like he's kind of saying like, let's see how it goes. He's probably hopeful that it goes somewhere. So if it goes well, we'll probably be meeting her in the near future. If not, he'll just relent and talk about how it couldn't work out and how he thought she was nice or the other one. Something like that. He can always say, oh, I thought it would work out, but yeah, or she was nice, but he can give a reason, like we just weren't meant to be, or it just couldn't work out, or we were different, or something like that, or she traveled. Yeah, anything. He could talk about anything. He could mention anything. But if he says something like, oh man, like, oh, like excited, it might just mean they started off like, okay, like the relationship, that everything is going all right, and he's willing to say a lot more. You can tell by how happy he is, by his mood. If he's excited and he really wants to talk about it, you probably know it's something good. It's working out. He's excited about it. He's loving it so far. They're probably not that serious, not serious enough yet, but you know it's probably going somewhere, or he's hopeful about it. He might not even be sure about it, so he's willing to talk a little bit more, share slightly more personal details, like, oh, she got home at 9, oh, we did it until morning, stuff like that. Realize he won't go into the details like we did this till 10, then this. No. She got home at 9 till morning. Realize like he'll not go deep into the actual sex details. No. He'll just say, oh, she got home at 9, we did it until morning. He won't say like, oh, at 9 o'clock we did this, at 10 o'clock we changed. No. He'll just keep it. We'll get a rough idea of how everything went. Yeah. So I'm talking about serious men. Like I'm talking about with serious men, they tend to commit. Only thing is, we like to be sure she's the right person before we commit totally. I can't talk about other guys. Some guys might just be out there playing around and everything, but most guys just want to be sure first. After they're sure, they commit totally. And I know some ladies say, no, guys with commitment, they're afraid of commitment. No. We have no problem committing. I talked about that on a different podcast, so I won't go too deep into it. Yeah, but about commitment, once we're sure she's good for it and that she looks willing to take it all the way, we're all in. Definitely. If he answers something like, I'm not feeling it, or it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, it means something's amiss. Something's not adding up. Maybe something happened, so he's not really feeling it that much. And he might not be seeing much of a future in it. like we were kind of hopeful that the future like might look bright, but it probably doesn't. That's why he's saying that. So we might ask something like, "What happened?" And he might give a reason like, "Well, her ex called her all night," or maybe she started talking about her ex, or she ate my burger. No, yeah, the burger things, that's just a joke. Yeah, but everything else might have turned him off. Like maybe baggage from exes and all that. Something else that just kind of pissed him off or rubbed him the wrong way. Eating the burger is no problem. I was kidding about that. So yeah, he might also have less expectations if she did something like maybe she canceled several dates without a good enough reason. Yeah, so at which point he's probably thinking this is not the right person. If she's just canceling without out of the blues without letting him know, you obviously know she might not be serious. One date canceling one is not a problem, but two, three without communicating just might be a signal that she's not interested. And obviously he got the message, and he'll probably cut it off or stop with it, stop the whole thing. So most of us tend to just encourage, like depending on the situation. Remember, it's about whether we discuss girls, so this is part of it. We'll just encourage him, like depending on the situation. Like if let's say she has a demanding job, so we'll tell him something like, you need to understand her schedule, or you can talk it over with her later. And he'll probably say, guess you're right. He'll just take the advice we give. He doesn't have to follow it, but he'll obviously listen and think about, maybe we might be right, maybe we're not, maybe we're wrong. But at the end of the day, he'll consider both options: our advice, our opinions, and his own, because he obviously knows her better. He's interacted with her, but our input still matters because we might have been in such a situation before. So that's why we give advice. That's why we give her 10 cents. So if the ex talk was all serious and she seemed involved and attached like to her exes, that just spells bad news. You need to do something about it. We'll just tell him, you need to do something about that. It's not cool. It's just one of the pieces of advice he might get. Most guys will just tell him like, you don't want to do that. She's still carrying baggage from her previous relationship. Forget about that. However, since most guys hang out in a group of up to 4 or more, might be 5, 6, sometimes even 3. Maybe somebody else is missing out, busy. So the guy having the problem, like the guy who needs the advice, he'll get different pieces of advice from everybody. But like everybody's trying to help out, but he gets to make the final decision. No one tries to like make the decision for him, like you have to, or no, it's more like you need to, or maybe you should do this, or maybe you should think about that. I think I kind of clarified on that. So remember, the question is, do you discuss girls like a lot? Do you discuss girls when you're in a group? A little bit or a lot? Well, yeah, we do. Like I said before, if I remember a girl, one of the guys might have introduced, but maybe one of my friends or one of our crew, the guys in the group, maybe they might have introduced us to a girl, meaning he brought the girl to the group, but he hasn't brought her around in a while. That raises a question. Most of us will want to know, hey, like, what happened? Sometimes we might assume they were not serious. She was probably just a thing, and maybe it just happened that he needed to come with her. Maybe it wasn't an opportune moment, so he just brought her along, or she just tagged along. But sometimes if he seemed a little bit serious, or we heard about her several times, and all of a sudden we haven't seen her in a while, we might want to know, is everything okay? What happened to her? We haven't seen her in a while, or we haven't heard about her, or you haven't mentioned her. Yeah. So the reason I or one of the guys might ask her about, or might ask him about her, is maybe we miss her. Maybe she was fun to hang around with, or something like that. That those girls we love hanging around with, like when it's just guy time, there's some girls that we don't mind having around. Of course, not all the time, but usually a good number of times. But she was probably a lot of fun to just have around. Some of those ladies are just like one of the boys that just feed in, not necessarily drinking beer. Like she might not necessarily be doing that, but like the rest of us, maybe she might still be sipping her wine, whatever she likes. But as long as like we found her fun hanging around with the guys, awesome. She fits in like one of the men in the crew, so we wouldn't really mind. That's why we might be asking, hey, what happened to her? Maybe we're not asking on if she was a girlfriend. No, we're just asking on a friendly level, like, hey, what happened to her? You guys were cool, so something like that. So she's the kind who gets us out. Like even though we were all planning to like stay indoors and just chill, she's the kind who maybe convinces us, no, let's go to the bar, and it will be more fun with a lot of more people around. She kind of made us have fun. She kind of helped us like try something different, and we kind of liked it. So we kind of want to have her around if possible, of course. But if they're no longer together, we can push or we can ask for her to be back around. Just happens. If he fails to bring her, like for a while, we might ask about her, and maybe no answer. He just says, "Oh, it didn't work out, no problem," or she traveled. But most times we might just reminisce, like on the good old times. Oh, you remember when we did that? Oh, something like that. So maybe she's all held up. He might say, we haven't talked in a while. I'll hit her up later on tonight. Yeah, it's great. Usually having such a girl around, it also proves useful. She has insight into the feminine mind, because most of us are just guys. We're just throwing ideas back and forth. But with a lady like that around, she kind of shares what she thinks from a lady's perspective. And some of us would be quick to bounce some ideas off of her. They want to know, hey, what about this? What do you ladies think about that? Others want to ask for advice from her. Like maybe they've been trying to get something or to get a different lady. They don't want to know how to do it, like the best way to approach a certain lady. So asking her is usually better than just asking us, because we do have the experience, but we might not always have the best advice. So having her is a huge opportunity, having her around. So random dating questions and dilemmas, yeah, they're just that. Those are the kind of questions you'd be asking her if she was around. So do we discuss girls? Yeah, a lot. Sometimes even when we have another lady around, we'll still discuss girls or girls or ladies. So yeah, moving on. If a group of guys is just getting acquainted, like they don't know each other that well, like they haven't been friends for a long time, they haven't been friends for a long enough time. Basically, they're kind of new to each other. There is a lot they don't know about each other, so almost everything goes. In that case, you just throw everything, you just talk about everything, girlfriends, flings, and all that, until everyone knows what's going on, until everyone knows you, because it's the very few first times you need to know each other well enough. So you wanna talk about everything, so guys have a rough idea of who you are, or how you are, the kind of relationships you're into, what you're doing, what you're having. So the first times, that's normal. Guys who know each other already know a lot about each other, so we kind of have a target topic about a girl or about ladies, not just everything. So yeah, and here, like if we're fairly new, if we've been acquainted, we've been friends for a while, we don't talk about like how nice her ass is. No, better language, like she looks nice, that gets the point across. But guys who are new, they might throw in anything, ass, butt, or I like all of that. But so guys who know each other pretty well, they might not always use that lewd or overly sexual language. It's a little bit respectful, because most guys there have wives or they've been dating for a while. They have serious girlfriends, some of them kids, so they can't just go using such language. Yeah, some groups probably do, but most guys just keep it slightly better, respectful. Once in a while, somebody might say something nasty, but not always. It's not like guys are just cursing and talking about sex like kids, no, or like teenagers, not really. Like horny young no, adolescents, no, because these are obviously mature older people. So there's a level of respect. I mean, respect is always upheld, no matter what. Even an ex who breaks your boy's heart, like she breaks one of your friend's heart, she's still talked about respectfully. Yeah, as much as we can. And depending on what she did and how long they were together. Like, were they married? Is it a divorce? Did they have kids? In such a case, you gotta be more respectful regardless of what she did. If she was just a fling now, guys can throw a few nasty words here and there. Oh, yeah. Like someone or another might even curse her out, especially if she hurt one of the good guys, one of the good, really good, nice guys in the group. Yeah, everybody tends to feel bad for those guys when they get heartbroken, something like that, yeah. So like the super good ones among us, because we're just trying to like be there for him or to help him feel better. So you can understand why guys will try to be more defensive towards him, especially towards somebody who broke his heart if he was not in the wrong. Yeah. So yeah. And we can mention the petty stuff like, oh, she's been like if you're talking about your wife or somebody you've been dating for a while, we can mention the petty stuff, nothing serious. Like, oh, she's been ringing me to take the trash on time, but I keep forgetting. Yesterday, she just had it with me. And so guys laugh like, man, she has to keep reminding you to take out the trash, stuff like that. So it's something that elicits laughter, something funny about like our wife or girlfriend, because we've been dating for a while. There's a level of respect attached to it. So in such a case, we don't really go talking about the negative stuff. So this is as far as we go on such a topic involving a serious spouse. Something to laugh about or to make fun of myself, or yeah, something fun that happened. Nothing crazy like sexual, like I mentioned before. Unless we're talking about flings with serious guys who are in serious relationships, they don't go talking about the nasty, sexy stuff. Yeah, so just to clear it up, this doesn't happen. Like, we don't always talk about ladies every time guys meet. Once in a while, such a conversation might come up, but it's just not something we do all the time. Not like 100% of the time. We talk about girls? Yeah, a lot, but not all the time. There is a lot of other things to talk about. There is politics for those who love politics, of course. There's that. There's pets. There's money, business, family, generally like kids and what they've been up to, and wifey maybe planning a garden. Just to mention a few. So yeah, we might also have a few questions here and there, and like for each other about business, about life. Maybe somebody's planning on doing something. Maybe it might be something like somebody's planning on moving to a different city, something like that. Anything. Doesn't always have to be about ladies or sex. Not really. So conversations generally go anywhere, any direction, and girls are just a part of it. Ladies are just a part of it. Women are just a part of it. So for the married guys, we'll talk more of family, because naturally they don't have a lot of girls to talk about, right? They're not talking about flings or yeah, because they're married, obviously. So, but younger dudes, like younger men, definitely they have a couple of things to mention about girls alongside sports, because that's a very common, interesting topic there about the sex and all that. So one thing leads to another. Oh, I heard it could even be about the actress. Oh, I heard about the actress in this new movie. Oh, then that leads to something else. Like, oh, she looked awesome in that movie. But did you see her in that different movie? So in this one, she's playing stuff like that. So what I'm saying is one topic usually leads to another. So once in a while, most of the times, it might lead to a lady or about girls. Yeah, so yeah. Sometimes the topic might be about girls, but not that all the time it's usually about girls. Just happens once in a while, sometimes the other time, but not all the time. So I kind of clarified on that. Remember, the question was or is, do you guys discuss girls, or do you guys discuss girls like a lot? Or different way to put the question is, do men discuss girls? Do men talk about girls? Do guys talk about the girl they like? Or do guys talk bad about a girl? What do men think about, and what do guys talk about? But some of them, like, what do men think about? That one, that's a different question. We'll cover it later. What do guys talk about? Yeah, like I mentioned, politics, cars, business. So what do guys talk bad about a girl? We rarely talk anything bad about a girl, like I mentioned, unless something happened, like she brought in the exes stuff, she had baggage like that. Yeah, that might be something else. Guys don't usually talk anything bad about girls. unless they're kind of a weird group or immature or something like that, I wouldn't expect them to be saying anything bad. Of course, unless, like I mentioned, if a good guy, one of the best guys in our groups, got heartbroken and we know, or he says it had nothing to do with him, maybe he caught her doing something nasty that led to the breakup, yeah. In that case, we might say, what, really? Man, that's bad, that's terrible, something like that. Or maybe some other guys might say something that might not be so good about her, because obviously they are hurt, but generally there's nothing bad to talk about it, like to say about her. So do we talk about the girls we like? Yeah, we do. I mentioned it before, right? Part of the podcast. We do talk about her, but we don't usually go too deep about it. Just the random stuff until we are sure where it's going or where it's heading to. We can show pictures of her, a picture or two, no problem. But we rarely go deep into who she is because we are not sure yet. We don't know how it's going to go, how it's going to end up. So you might keep it at the basic level. And with that, I'm going to be out of here. I got to run somewhere. Maybe I don't really have to run. I can just walk. And I've just remembered a piece of advice somebody told me. If you need to think about something or you're pondering on something, take a walk. I hear Albert Einstein used to do that a lot. I'm not saying that you should do that just because he used to do it, but I hear it's awesome. Nothing happens until you get in motion, to put it that way. That's actually one of his quotes. Nothing happens until something moves. In his exact words, it was something like that. Nothing happens until something moves. And with that, I'm going to call it a night, I'm going to call it a day, I'm going to call it an evening, I'm going to call it a morning. And I hope to see you next time. Stay good, stay safe. I might just as well mention keep hydrating because I'm just about you. See you next time. Bye-bye.